I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what are you doing National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey. Get the pearls of wisdom from them. But don't have them do for you. Then it means you can't do
know
for yourself.
what time it is? It's Sharpton time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. And certainly we're happy to be with you another day to talk about what's going on coming to life, as I said, from the corporate. And you and I have a lot to talk about today. It's been a report that the United States hit 3 more alleged drug boats in the Pacific, killing 8 people. This is sourced by military spokespeople. They say it struck 3 more alleged drug-carrying boats in the Eastern Pacific on Monday. And this is the latest campaign. Again, this is with no trial, no due process, no plea guilty or innocent. Just kill them because we say there's drugs on the boat. And we don't even see the evidence of the drugs because they don't have to go to court. And the more we engage in this and allow this to continue to happen, what starts happening when other countries start shooting our service members, your sons and daughters, saying we thought they were doing something, so we shot them. We don't need due process. Y'all have set the precedent. This is dangerous. It is reckless. And it is, in some cases, clearly, in other cases, almost against the international crimes judgment. We also see the United States lost 105,000 jobs in October and added 64,000 in November. And this is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, lifting a months-long fog that had shrouded the labor market. The unemployment rate has rose to 4.6% in November, the highest. Listen to this now. This is the highest unemployment rate since September of 2021. So the highest in 4 years. The report also says that this was the last one before the government shutdown. It was a modest increase, 119,000 jobs, and little changed in unemployment. So it's now at 4.6% unemployment. This is from the guy that was going to save the economy. This is from the president that was going to bring America prosperity back. Well, not only has he not even kept pace with what President Biden and Vice President Harris was doing and bringing unemployment down, including in the black community. Numbers don't lie. And one of the things that I'm very much watching is that the big Trump followers, they have to be seduced or lured into not believing in facts. So he tells them everything's fake news. That's the only way he can keep them with him. And I know some that go on our message board saying a lot of crazy stuff that we won't answer. But he's convinced them to live in counter universe and an extraordinary reality that doesn't exist. That's why we do these shows every day, and that's why we're going to keep doing them. Let me say, on your message board, you're weighing in, and you can weigh in at 1-877-532-5797. Darrell Prunty is saying, praise the Lord, Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm on the Lord's side, feeling mighty happy, feeling mighty glad. I like that. I like people to pick up my spirit. Mayor Rodney Jones, Mayor of Queensbridge Houses in Queens, New York, says, "Good afternoon, my shepherd." And good afternoon to you, Mr. Mayor Georgia Daniel. Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. As always, darkest before the dawn. Daylight is coming, keeping it real in Toledo, Ohio. Glad to have Ohio on line. Let me say, one of the darkest things, and I've been out here, many of you know, since I was 12 in civil rights, preaching since I was 4. So I've been out here over 6 decades. And I cannot remember. I implied it yesterday, but I thought about it after I got off the air, various meetings I was in. I kept racking my brain. I cannot, in any memory I have, think of something more disgraceful and dark as what Donald Trump did as president yesterday around the death of Bob Reiner, the movie director, and his wife. To say that he caused anger because he had some Trump derangement syndrome and it got people angry enough to kill him. And we find out later that they had arrested Bob Reiner's son, who had had a drug problem and mental issues, had nothing to do with he was with Donald Trump, had nothing to do with he was mad at his father for attacking Donald Trump. And I'm telling you, I can't shake it that it is frightening because it's like this man is coming apart at the seams. I really am concerned, not just personally for him, but for the country, or whether we're dealing with a man that has lost it. Why would you think that whoever killed Bob Reiner and his wife did it because they were angry at them for having Trump derangement? And then when it came out about his son and the history of the drugs and the history of the family problems, you still won't take it back. There's some real disorder here. And I think we need to talk about it. Julianne Alexander says, "Good afternoon, Reverend Al Sharpton, keeping it real, watching from Wesley Chapel, Florida, originally from the Bronx." All right. God bless you, and God bless you. Evangelist Ramsey, one of our extraordinary activists here in New York. "Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and Nan family. We're still standing. God wins every battle, and so will we by faith. We come this far by faith, lending and leading on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never fails. Love, grace, and peace." Thank you, Evangelist Ramsey. So let me say this: the economy is weak. Tariffs is adding to that. On top of that, we've got a president that thinks that everybody that's against him are dealing from some kind of malfunction mentally, and they're making people do crazy stuff. I mean, and not to mention, he continues to pound on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and showed utter oblivion, is totally oblivious to dealing with gun control when we just had the shootings in Providence, Rhode Island at Brown University, and the shootings in Australia, Sydney, Australia, aimed at the Jewish community on the eve of Hanukkah. Still won't address it. Gives us sympathy, he says, to the families, and let's keep moving. I just, for the life of me, can't figure out what we can't figure out. The man is not well, and the man is certainly not on our side. So when you look at the gun control, when you look at the shootings, when you look at what they're doing in terms of redistricting, when you look at the fact that this president has now, through tariffs and other things, began to sink the economy, you ought to have something to say. And I'm opening up the phones and let you say it. Because this is at a point where it will take us years to dig out of this stuff. We must, in the midterm elections, put at least some speed stoppers for him rolling over us by putting the Democrats, I think, as the majority. You got to stop this. No telling where this goes. Let's take a break. I'm opening up the phones. A lot of you didn't get through yesterday. I'm opening up the lines right now. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions. This whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, at ACP with the principles together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
Come on.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest, who can run around the pulpit more, or who got the dresses fancy, and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
We have a short visit, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. One of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you
you.
been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time, and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's what exactly. That was exactly.
two people that most influenced my life are from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road. Keep it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. And we are taking your calls on all these issues that I did raise. I raised about the despicable way that President Trump dealt with the death, the murder of Bob Reiner and his wife. I've dealt with there now 8 more dead, shot, and killed in the Pacific on a so-called drug boat. We have no evidence, no due process on. That is really, really on this road to really put the United States, I think, in a very vulnerable position, and our service members, including members of our family. Talking about how unemployment now has gone up to 4.6%. Blacks are almost double that. And inflation is on the rise at a time that we have a president that said he was going to heal the economy from day one. Well, we're in the 11th month, and it's worse than it was. And, of course, we are still dealing with the shootings in Providence, Rhode Island, and in Sydney, Australia. And they still have the people in the person of that did the Providence, Rhode Island shooting at bay. Not caught him, not having any leads. And what is amazing to me is that this happened Saturday. And if it goes another day or two, it'll be a story, and people will forget about it. We have made the minds of our citizens in this country numb to death, to murder, to mass murder. And that is sick and dangerous. So let's go to phones and let's go to the message board and talk about these things. Let me remind you, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday and Sunday. And I got the ratings. You certainly watched it last weekend. It's about the 6th, 7th week in a row we came ahead of the other cable stations, CNN, at our hour, and really did better than most on MS Now. That's because we have a loyal audience, and I try to do what I can to make sure I talk about the things you want to talk about in our community and related communities. And I'll ask the questions, and I'll have the guests on that's in the mix. I had everybody from Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman running for Texas, Senator, her opponent, all the way to Congressman Stephen Hosford of Vegas, talking about what the whole Affordable Care Act not being extended in just about 12 days would mean in his district. And I'm telling you, with all I'm bringing up about Bob Ranger, which is disgusting and disgraceful, and the unemployment going up and the tariffs and all of that, there's nothing that is more deadly to me on millions of Americans than they are going to roll back the Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare. You cannot ignore that. Everybody listening to me, somebody in your family, if not you yourself, is depending on the Affordable Care Act. And to act like that's nothing is insane. Let's start in Cleveland, Ohio, with Demetrius. Demetrius, you're keeping it real. W-E-R-E, Demetrius, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
Thank you.
Listen to the topics you brought up. I think about they want to roll back the Affordable Care Act at the expense of American citizens. That shows disrespect, for the well-being of the American citizens, similar to the Confederacy. The Confederacy once ill defeated all the people in the South. They lost their land. They went bankrupt. This administration is doing the same thing. For Greek and for great racism, they put in the risk the whole American economy. The inflation is still high. The medical aid would go up in a couple of weeks. Unemployment is high. The health system is being destroyed. Education being destroyed. And they want to start a war in South America with Venezuela. They're using terrorism with some of the immigrants here, and even those people who resemble immigrants. They being attacked. And then some people not even immigrants. So they live under fear every day. To me, taking this country back to a time, where people are scared to walk the street, innocent people. It'd be a big division between the rich and the poor, the have and the have-nots. The press is pretty much corrupt. You can't really get any biased news. It always on certain areas, you might get some similar to having unbiased news. But usually, listening to Fox, it's all for Donald Trump. It's supposed to be a public news station. I don't know how it can be licensed if it's just leaning toward one way, and not just Fox, but many other radio stations. And also his policies, toward other countries as well. All they're doing is pushing countries that would be friendly to the United States even more toward China, even more toward Russia. And then when they do that, the Americans will suffer because those countries' resources going to go to China. They're going to make better deals with China. And the tariffs Donald Trump put in effect, it's just going to cause those countries to raise the tariffs on American goods that comes to their country. So the American country is be hurt, just like the farmers are being hurt now. So, when it comes down to looking out for the American people, this administration is not doing that, and also those who back them. They really wanted to reverse some of the progress we made for their own benefits, or hold power, or to take money from the social programs and put it toward programs they want, or to even just put it maybe in their own businesses. But what they're doing is denying, the more upper mobility of this country.
Right.
But it's just gonna fall
Well,
behind.
they are not protecting the upward mobility of the country, and they are putting the country in dangerous way. Stay with me a minute, Demetrius, because I want to follow up on something you said. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself. But I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
But they can't kill the dreamer. Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, has said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump Let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let me go back to Demetrius and Cleveland. Demetrius, one of the things that I think that people do not realize is that if people do not have health insurance, they're literally, I'm not exaggerating, not putting my thumb on the scale, literally lose to some people losing their lives. And I think that those of us that are fortunate to have insurance through other means, our jobs or whatever, are really blind to the fact that there are literally millions of people that depend on that health care benefit. That when the clock strikes midnight on the 31st of December, which is only a couple of weeks away, that is gone. And the subsidies and all will be gone. And you will end up with these premiums going sky high where they are not affordable. And this is absolutely crazy that we're allowing this to happen. Is Demetrius there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yes. Yes, some people have to go back to the doctor, for follow-ups, every couple of weeks, every month.
Right.
Now, every time they go back, it's going to cost more. When they get their medication, prescriptions,
right,
it's going to go up. If they go to the emergency room, now the emergency room fees going to be even more.
Right. And their jobs are not more. And if you got a job, it's not more. So you got the same base salary, but now your health care can double or triple. All because the Republicans want to revoke it because it's called Obamacare. They're not denying the need. And they kept saying they're going to come up with an alternative plan. That we've not heard the alternative plan, and it's very close, if not already there, to too late to vote on it and make it law by December 31st. We're already at the 16th of December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they don't have a plan because they can't come up with a plan that just as effective as Affordable Care Act and covering all American citizens, make sure they have equal care.
Right.
So they can't come up with a plan, So they willing to sacrifice the health of the American citizens because of their bias and because of their hate because of President Obama put the plan into effect and the Congress that was with him. And like I said, the American people is going to suffer, even though some of the followers, have this same feelings they did. But are they willing, to go to the doctor now, have to pay a higher fee,
right,
higher price for their medication? Now, it's not worth it. Now, we go back to the boycotts in Alabama and Montgomery. You had a lot of hatred, a lot of bias. But once people in Montgomery, the black people, started riding the bus company came around. Now, this administration, the Republicans who voted for that to come around because they're going to suffer. Just like the people in Montgomery, the owners of the bus company suffered. They did come around. So the Republicans, they got to come around, and those who back them have to come around. It's just going to hurt themselves, going to hurt their constituents. So they got to look out, for their own constituents, also doing the right thing to do. when it comes to healthcare. Because if they don't, it's going to be a deeper hole for the health of the Americans. It's going to be a deeper hole for the economy. The people's not going to buy more. They have to go to the doctor to choose between their health and feeding themselves. Some of them going to choose their health, but then they're not going to spend money on television. They're not going to spend money on food. So it's going to be less money being spent. So more layoffs is going to happen. If they do decide to spend money on other things, the prevention will be going to be more people sick because they're not going there for screening for cancer, for diabetes, and other diseases. So it's going to hurt uh, all Americans, their health. Also, pregnant women who have children, they're not going to go in, for the examination sometime. We're going to have more rises in cancer, prostate cancer, and so forth. Not just certain groups, not just African American Latinos. You have a lot of poor Caucasians as well who won't be going in. And some of them, the main ones who supported Donald Trump. So this really be allowed to make sure that the Affordable Care Act stay into place, put all their rhetoric aside and think about their own benefit, their own health. Because they're going to suffer. The people in Appalachia, those who live in the inner city, who may be Caucasian, live in rural areas. That they're willing to make that price because they're congressmen. Some of them are the main ones who's going against the Affordable Care Act. All right, thank you very Sharpton. Thank you. Give me the time to speak. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm.
Rev. Rev.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, again, and lastly, I just want to say, this concerning the mass shootings, it's hard for President Trump to condemn, what's happening in Australia and at Brown University. That when he let ICE commit some illegal acts in arresting people, here in the United States.
Well,
Because
making illegal acts, arresting people, and making war crimes, as far as I could see, shooting up, killing people in the Caribbean, saying that they're boats. I mean, it is very hard to have the moral standing of questioning what's going on with these shootings when you're doing these things yourselves and when you will not support any gun legislation. I mean, they're not even trying to go through the cosmetics of that they're trying to get something done.
No, they're not. They're not even making an effort toward to help us solve the problems of the shootings. And also, when he bagged Netanyahu, in Gaza, there was some of the atrocities what happened there. So you can't condemn, with some terrorist acts that happen in other countries, but he bagged Netanyahu with some of the techniques he was using and killing a lot of innocent people, and in Gaza as well. So it can't be two-faced. Because people see right through that. They see the hypocrisy. And so people in other nations, they some look at tit for tat. It have to be a higher moral standard than people think twice before they do things. But when they don't see a higher moral standard, some feel, well, this is the way the game is played, that is what must be done.
Right.
You can hear the United States the same way. There are people on the streets, they doing this shooting because they see the government is using illegal tactics to do what they want, just a means to an end. So they not set no standards for people in the inner city or people in suburbs doing these killings. So they see that those who supposed to know better is doing. This is how you make a living. This is how things can be done. You can get away. Just like Trump pardoned himself, a lot of criminals shouldn't be pardoned because they had no repentance. They never said, well, I regret for what I've done, but yet they still got pardoned. And they have no regrets for something they committed. So
Absolutely.
you don't say no bar. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me go to New Jersey to Cooper. Cooper, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon. Reverend Al, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al. Reverend Al, I'm calling today because I got to talk about this and touch on what you said about how dark the Trump administration is and the president himself. Um, every time there is a tragedy, we get to experience how terrible and horrible a person the president is. As you've seen the tweet about Rob Reiner and his death and his wife's death and had to bring it back to himself, Trump derangement syndrome, like how vile. And then the Brown University shooting, he's blaming the university, Rev, and saying that it's university's fault on their delay of chasing or trying to find the shooter and not the FBI's fault. When did universities go out and try to track down active shooters?
Right.
Like this stuff, what's going on through the guy's head, Rev?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I know one thing. It is clearly not something going through his head that's in the correct way of protecting and serving the American people. There is nothing that has been established that those boats are selling drugs. And the one that they did last week, the evidence was that they were not even headed to the United States. They were supposed to be headed to another vessel, and that vessel was going to another country. So the whole point is so convoluted, but it is, as you say, Cooper, they're putting us at risk. And then at the same time that you have the external threat, you have the internal combustion of people shooting up places like Brown University on the anniversary of other mass shootings. And there's nothing being done, even discussed, about gun control. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly, Rev. And I remember when Charlie Kirk was killed, people were losing their jobs over their, freedom of speech, talking about it. And even if I don't agree with what they were saying about the killing. But Trump, to be a hypocrite, remember, he and the Republicans was pushing for people to lose their jobs when they were speaking out on the Charlie Kirk killing.
Exactly.
In a disgusting way. But he can tweet about the killing of Rob Reiner and his wife. And I'm like, the hypocrisy here. And
it's startling. You're right. Thank you for your call. Let me take a break. Be right back. More of you on the phones and on the message board. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Some people report the news, others interpret it, but there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight, we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate, or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them. It's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them. It's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? From New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said, they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So we will keep spitting facts with the humble confidence of Sean Carter on our best day. And you can keep making up your own mind, because we gonna be all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Come on.
we've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest, who could run around the pulpit more, or who got the dresses fancier, and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well.
This is the first Thanksgiving I'm here in New York. Over 20 years. I'm just glad to be here with Rev today and to hand out the food. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's Erica Ford, the Peace Doctor in the building. Here at the National Action Network, it's about thanks. It's about giving. It's about gratitude. It's about love. I feel it is important for you to understand that there's work out here to be done, but it starts with gratitude. It starts with giving. Starts with peace, starts with love. Let's go.
Before we feed our family, we got to make sure that we feed the community. That's right. That's what it's all about. We got to come with Sharpton phones. You come and you make sure you show up, serve the community. That's what it's all about.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago. Had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, twitter.com, the Rev Al, but you can even go immediately to nationalactionnetwork.net to our message board at live stream, and I will read you a message if you do so. Let me read a couple of messages. I see ABEN Bena Scott, happy Tuesday. Sovereign rights is civil rights. Spider and deer did assist crossing river of life, keeping hope alive. All right. Then I see greetings and salutations from Michelle Cook at CMK 1238. Thank you for your greetings and salutations. And of course, a lot more. A lot of people coming in on the message board. Let me go back to the phone. Let me go to Brenda in Richmond, Virginia. Brenda, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Brenda there?
Are you? Hey, Rev, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, honey. Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm gonna tell you, you touched on a lot of topics within that hour. I can tell you right now. But Rev, let me ask you. Let me ask something. When first of all, Demetrius, and Rev, you know, the decades and decades, you as a civil rights advocate, and I've been an advocate for over 40. Demetrius, I enjoyed listening to what he had to say. And if the brother is still listening, you are truly a jewel for your community, because the knowledge and the facts was just amazing. And I want to thank Demetrius and thank you, Ray, for being able to let him talk, because it was really, he touched on so much that was just true. But Ray, when you got to the emergency room part, let's not forget about once Obamacare is gone, let's not forget about the number of hours now when people will stay in the emergency room anywhere from 4 to 6 to 10 hours. Let's not forget that that's going back to that. You can forget now the 20 minutes or the 30-minute waits that you had since President Obama enacted this. So now you're going to go back to all those hours that you had to set into the emergency rooms. And Reb, and the other thing, Brown University. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Donald Trump FBI director go out bragging about they got the suspect, and then they had to release him because they didn't have enough evidence? And then Donald Trump then blamed Brown University for the problem. Is that true?
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. The shooting happened. I tell you how I know you're right. Shooting happened late Saturday and early evening, late afternoon. And I was on the air doing Politics Nation. And the shooting happened, and the first bulletin came out that Trump put out, based on information he got from the FBI, that they had apprehended the suspect. Then they corrected it an hour or two later. I'd left the studio by then, saying that they did not call him the suspect and he was not harmed, that he was a person of interest. They went from they done what they did to the guy, till they didn't do nothing to the guy, till he wasn't a suspect, till he was a person of interest. All in a matter of 3 or 4 hours. And then, of course, the next day and a half, they had to let the guy go, saying that the ballistics did not match the gun that they were holding him on. So I'm glad you brought it up, Brenda, because it really ought to scare us that we're dealing with this kind of incompetence at that level. I mean, what president puts out that something happened to somebody without being sure that it happened? And what people in the FBI would give false information for the president to announce until they have verified everything? I mean, are we playing amateur hour here? This is unheard of. Whether I agree with a policy or not, you expect that the policies and the announcements and pronouncements have been vetted and checked and double-checked before you had the president of the United States put it out there.
And that's true. And see, this is where, like you said, everybody should be scared. But I'm on the same token, Ray, I don't know why we are still talking as if we should be surprised either.
Right.
Because this man, not just him, but Vice President Kamala Harris, she told everybody over and over and over again. Project, this is everyone was aware, that those that wanted to listen that was made aware of Project 2025. So I don't know why we are still even shocked at this point. It does surprise me on that. But I do want to say this, Rev. I want us also just, because, we always got to go back to community. And because a lot of times, they like to get us distracted too.
Right.
But we got to also keep close on what is going on in community. That's why with Demetrius and that in the knowledge and the facts that the brother was talking about, that's why I was just really enjoying that. But Rev, we also I want to bring back one thing. We got to remember when it comes to our children, especially our Black children, unless we are focusing on them as well, we're going to continue to lose them. I talked to you a week or so ago regarding Georgia. We got to look up Georgia code 0CGA 19.7.
0CGA.
G as in Greg, A as in Apple.
All right.
19.
Right.
0.7.25.
Okay.
Rev, this is a law that I'm going to challenge with position papers, and then I'm going to have to get speak with aides out of Ossoff's office and out of Senator Warnock's office. This code gives unwed mothers sole custody of a child, even if that mother is abusive, even if that mother endangers a child. The father, why are we leaving Black men out? They literally, this disproportionately affects our Black children. Why is Georgia, we talk about men, specifically Black men, not doing enough for our Black children. This law literally restricts men from even being able to be a father to their child. So when we're talking about Black men, why are we doing that? Because in the state of Georgia, Black men can't do anything unless they pay $525 to the state, and then have to wait to get to court for months or maybe years on end to even prove that they're the father, even if their name is on the birth certificate.
Wow.
We have a problem here in Georgia. We have a problem with our Black children that are not being safe. And let me say something. I am a former social worker. One thing I don't do is diminish our Black women. But when I know that there's abuse, and especially when it comes to my grandchild, when I know there's abuse or endanger on my grandchild almost dying, and then I'm looking up this law, because you know me, I'm going to stay on it. We got to start doing something. We got to have to do something better. And I am hoping that I'd be able to at least be able to get across to those two senators, and also John Scott, whom is the Congress in my son's district, made a call to their office. We're going to have to get this law challenged, because we got mothers out there that are fantastic mothers. But when we know that there are abusive mothers out here, and that nothing can be done, not even the fathers. Fathers have no rights. How in the world do fathers have no rights to their children?
That's right.
But now, Rev, I know Nan is going to be having, I know you're going to be having your convention in April at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely want to say this. Well, I will make a suggestion. Advocates across this nation, and Rev, I sit on that crisis team. So Lord knows I know better than anybody of what you do and what Nan does and the work that we do nationwide. Rev, it would be a great idea to bring on advocates to talk about these type of issues that we actually do get resolved for people nationwide, so people understand the real work that you put behind us and that we do every day in this as an
I like that idea.
And
yeah,
loving our work.
Yeah, we should feature that.
Rev, absolutely, we definitely do. And Rev, thank you.
All right, I'm going to tell Reverend Toon we're going to get that done. We got a feature of advocates in different parts of the country, like where you are there, and where we can also have people that work in different areas and do a whole forum with them and film it, put some of it on Politics Nation. I'm going to do that in our convention 26. You're right, Brenda. Thank you for that. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Knew love like this before, 'cause I never knew love like this before.
Sounds so good. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone. I am humbled and grateful to be here with you tonight. I love you too. I love you too. It seems like I've known Reverend Al Sharpton all my life. My mom was such a fan of his, and I've seen him through my life in LA at MCA Records. When I was there, he'd come through, you know, and get those people straight about our contracts and talk about that. And I haven't been honored a lot. Maybe this is my second time, and I'm 68 years old. And I've been in this business my entire life. I've never done what you would call a real job. But I am truly honored, and I'm thankful, and I love us. I love my black people. And I fight for us, and I want the women, the black women, to really know their worth. Know that they're queens. That's important to me. That's how my mother raised me. My mother was militant, I guess, when it wasn't trendy, yes. Because when I was a little girl, my mother and father would drive in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, do or die. And when she would see police officers handling black children or a black boy or a girl, she would have my father stop and say, she'd get out of the car and she'd say, "What's going on here? Wait a minute. What you doing?" All the time. So it's natural that I'm that way because I'm so tired of seeing our black men beaten with handcuffs. They have handcuffs on. That's important to me. That's my fight. I want love in this world. We're living in some, I love you. I never knew love like this before. I can't sing because we just finished doing 3 shows back to back. And I flew in this morning, and because Reverend Al wanted me to sing home. There's no way I could sing home, but okay. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes us a tall grass bend into leaning, suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning. Sprinkling the sea makes it all clean. But thank you. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I love you. I love you with my life.
Stephanie Mills. In many cases have
have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, at ACP, we would put together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. 888-866-9697. Or you can go to our message board at live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. And I'm reading on the message board, Tricia saying, the ragamuffin administration is not ready for prime time. We better pray that we don't have an attack or major emergency because the entire cabinet is unqualified. And Tricia, you said a mouthful there. It is scary that if there becomes a national emergency, that you've got this, I don't know what you call it, crew in Washington that at best is ill prepared. I want to throw something else at you. And I'm taking your calls on the issues of the day, but I want to throw something else at you. What is the most important thing that we can teach young people during this period? Your children, your grandchildren, children or young people in the neighborhood. What is the most important thing you could teach them? I raised that because someone asked me that question the other night. I was coming through the airport, and a guy stopped me, had a young person with him, maybe was 12 or 13, and guy asked me, would I take a picture with it? He said it was his son. I did. And I took the picture. And he said, I know you're rushing, Reverend, but could you give him some advice? And I looked at the young man. And I said, what advice in what area? And the young man said, well, I don't know what area. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. He said, what was the most important advice you ever got in your life, Reverend, at my age? I think he said it was 13. And I thought about it. And I'm not going to give you the answer. I want some of you to give me your answer. Because I think that we do not really understand and internalize how much we are and how much many are dealing with the questions of what people need to be or need to have done in their lives. And just, we take for granted people know what they don't know. I mean, how many of you have children or grandchildren living in your house, your domain, and you don't know what is the most important thing for them to learn? Y'all never discussed it. And then we wonder how they end up where they end up. Well, a tree can't grow or a flower can't grow without a seed being planted. So I want to know what's the most important thing. And I'm already getting some answers on the message board. Mayor Rodney Jones is saying the most important is knowledge of self. I don't purchase toys for my grandson. I purchase books about the African diaspora. Okay. Knowledge of self, he's saying, is the most important thing. That's interesting. Interesting. Let me go to the phone. Let me go to Brother Jacob in Philadelphia. Brother Jacob.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Sharpton, and your worldwide audience. Peace be unto you. You know, Reverend Sharpton, that question, I was thinking about it while you was, talking about it. I always try to give my children human compassion, right? Love for humankind, the differences, the fact that we all belong to the human family. I don't care what color you are, what you look like, you know, that human being, that crown of the creation, right? So I start with that, and then, you know, they're going to make it do what it do in their own lives, but I try to give them that foundation to get started with. And I ain't seen no problems. I got a baby girl that's a junior in college, and you know, she's doing pretty good. We blessed, and we just got to work with the blessings that you know, that we have. But you know, Reverend Al, I keep hearing the president say that we have the greatest economy that America's ever seen, you know. And to me, that's the biggest lie ever told. I mean, I don't know whether he think everybody is blind. You know, my mom used to say, God rest her soul, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time.
You're right.
You know, and if you can remember ever now, under President Biden, the people who knew said that the American economy was the envy of the world. You remember that, right? The people who knew was saying this stuff. So I don't know where he's getting his stuff from, and just murdering people and calling it a drug war. You know, to me, Reverend Al, all that goes out of the window when you released and pardoned one of the biggest drug lords America ever convicted. And this man went through the courts of law in America and was convicted. And you let him go, but yet you kill people that you don't even know, and you try to justify it talking about some drug war. And as for that Rob Reiner statement, I heard one of your callers say we shouldn't even be mad or surprised to hear what's coming from this president at this point, right? And incompetence, right? From the top to the bottom. What do we expect going to happen to our great country under this kind of incompetence? What we should be doing, and what I'm doing, is working to swell the rolls of voters and empower them to vote in a change. Reverend Al, didn't one of our ancestors, Sam Cooke, peace be on him, told us, say that a change is going to come?
Yes, he said it.
Well, and we need that change, don't we, Rev?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And we gonna work for it. Thank you, Drev.
Let's call for a break.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. More of you on the phones, 1-877-532-5797. You can talk about the issues of the day, and you can answer my question of the day. What is the most important thing you could tell a child? Think about it. Share it with the nation. Be right back.
Keeping it real. Texting privacy policy.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak to of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game, because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is they are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed, just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well,
You
let's say,
hopeless, then
well,
we're
to them,
cutting out.
well, to
It's
them,
never
10,
hopeless.
11, 12-year-old kids,
It's never
Jim.
hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Here I am. It's not hopeless.
I'm your host,
Then we're topping out.
Reverend Al Sharpton. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation. I've been on the phone. I'm booking folk already. It is still very interesting and disturbing to me that we are at Tuesday and the shooting and killing at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island was Saturday, and they have not caught the shooter after saying they had shot him and wounded him or taken him out. And now we are, 3 days later, and they don't even have the shooter. And this is at Ivy League college that should have cameras everywhere. At the same time, you have people openly with registered guns in Sydney, Australia, go and kill people at the Hanukkah night celebration. And Trump and them are giving out misinformation. And at the same time, the Congress is 2 weeks away from the Affordable Care Act expiring and no end in sight, no way to turn it around. Watch Politics Nation this weekend. I got a lot for you. One must watch it. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. And 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You that in the New York area, come be with me. If you're in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, be in Harlem Saturday morning for my holiday message, my Kwanzaa and Christmas message at the House of Justice, 145th and Lenox. Or you can watch it live on Impact Television or on nationalactionnetwork.net. Let me go to our live stream. Is it Destin? Yeah, okay, that's better. Destined Forever, 2 Lives, says, what Reverend Al said there is good. Our parents, grandparents, great-grands, and ancestors did not have the resources and access we have now, but they moved mountains. That's exactly right, Destiny. That's why I'm saying we need to talk about what we tell young people, because it's what the elders told us that brought us through, and they went through things that we can't tolerate. We can't even act like we get through a day without some trauma. Imagine them that had no rights anyone was bound to respect, had no real education, no money, no savings, and they never was traumatized. If they were, they handled it. We've got all these advantages and don't even know what to tell kids. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to James in Atlanta, Georgia. James, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, how's it going, Reverend Sharpton?
All right, how you doing?
I'm going to talk about. It's great. I'm going to talk about distractions. But to answer your question, what would you teach? What would I teach a youngster these days, or young people? I would teach about hope, because without hope, I think it's all over with, mentally and physically. You know, one of the Atlanta University's school centers, Clark Atlanta University, their slogan goes like, "But I'll find a way or make a way." So I think teaching hope, having confidence and trust in what is possible, I think is most vital for one to learn. That's probably at any age.
Uh-huh.
Young people. And then on the with the guy in the White House talking about the actor and his wife. These are distractions. Do you see what happened? I remember what happened last week around the 4th or 5th of December. He threw out about attending national parks free on MLK Day. And, that caused some distractions. But what happened last week around that time? Around that same time? He released the national security strategy of how his administration, and all presidents do this within their first year. They release a national security document that talks about how they will deal or expect to deal with the world, especially our allies and non-allies. So he released the national security strategy last week, and our allies just responded almost immediately. I heard nothing about it basically within the media. So he released that quietly. And then this week, you have what is happening this week. Tomorrow on the 17th, you have Jack Smith, who is testifying before the Judiciary Committee.
Right.
So will there be surprises there? And then on Friday, you have the Epstein files that are being released from the Department of Justice. They've been ordered by the courts to release them on Friday. Then you have the Democrats may release more information. Then you have this comet, possibly a spaceship that's passing by the planet on Friday. So you got a lot happening this week. So the distraction, and he's blowing up 3 other boats. Distractions.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me go to Rick in Germany. Rick, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good day, Brother Sharpton.
Good day.
First of all, I want to send condolences to Rob Reiner's family.
Yeah.
And second of all, I want to ask you what's going on with plans for war against Venezuela.
Well, the last we heard that they have moved vessels closer to Caracas in terms of being at the sea or at the Caribbean. So they're within striking distance. That happened over the weekend. We've not heard anything since then. Till today, we are told that on yesterday, they took down another boat in the Pacific on the other side and killed the people on there, claiming it was a drug boat. I don't think there's been any formal declaration of war other than Trump saying that there could be some on-land attacks. We've not seen it yet, but they certainly are continuing the attacks on the water.
Well, Trump is the president, but I understand in government that the Constitution says Congress has the power to make war.
Right.
So how can he declare war on Venezuela unless he's going to call it a police action and go after the drugs?
That's what he's doing. And you've got to ask yourself, what is the motive, particularly when we're not seeing due process. We're not seeing any evidence. They've not even shown us where the drugs that was in this boat. If people are transporting large quantities of drugs, they pack them. Them packs would be floating up to the top of the Caribbean Sea or the Pacific Ocean, wherever they shot. We haven't seen anything. And clearly there are those of us that feel this is more about taking over Venezuela. And in fact, Venezuela is rich in oil. Just like he has been saying he's going to come in with guns blazing in Nigeria, another oil-rich country. So is this about taking oil wells and money, or is this about what they're saying it's about?
I hope, in closing, that the Congress doesn't allow Mr. Trump to go into Venezuela and wage war. If he can give $20 billion to Argentina, I think he can find money to help the homeless here in America and to negotiate with Venezuela whatever he wants with the oil. I'm done, brother man.
All right, thank you. Always good to hear your voice. Let me go to Mustafa in Cincinnati, Ohio. Mustafa at the Buzz.
Good afternoon, brother. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I tell you, when we were talking about what we should.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you now, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I would have to say I'm an advocate of history, teaching the backstory, because the history of how we got here is so important, to what's going on right now. Because I always keep in mind, man, when I grew up in Chicago, and I can reach back as far as 1966 when Dr. King came to March for Fair Housing. He had a direct action program that took it to the heart of what was happening. So that history and the backstory was so important. Reverend Jesse Jackson at Operation Push every Saturday used to have his Saturday, still do, morning rallies.
Yeah, we still do it.
Taught the backstory.
We do it in New York
Right.
every Saturday. That's right.
Absolutely. And if somebody go to that rally, they need to know the history of how we got here. Why are we doing this? Those things are so important, because if they weren't important, this administration wouldn't be trying to stop history being taught or distorting the truth. All those things are vital. The backstory, the history. And lastly, it's the conscientious, the proactive, the well-informed are the ones who are going to get us to the finish line. Thanks for taking my call.
I love it. Thank you for your call. And I think you're absolutely correct. And I think that we need to be very circumspect. That's why I really want you to tell me what to tell young people. Because that really struck me when that guy stopped me in the airport the other night. I have a whole lot of young people that's joined NAN. I've got the Youth Huddle here in New York, and they've had chapters now, Youth Huddle around the country. You see them at our convention.
Yeah.
But I think that we don't stop and really think about a lot of these young people are not wanting to be random. They just have no guidance. They have no advice, no counsel. And I know that, my father left when I was 9. If I had not had some mentors and guidance from people that planted in me, I would have been much different. Well, what is it that we could plant in them? I think it's very important. But let me take my break. Thank you for your call, Mustafa. When I come back, more of you on the phones and on the message board, talking about the issues of the day and telling me what's the most important thing we could teach young people today. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game, because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed, just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Just don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying, you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say that.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid, you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as a land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
Right. At one man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking
of,
about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top, and don't discuss it. It's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside. And the only way to do that is everybody to get up and work by the sweat of their brow in America and try to produce, be productive like these two gentlemen have been in their life against all odds. They came up in a world that was alien to them, and they made it. And we can make it if we have the same initiative they did.
Mr. Sharpton, it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, and I've enjoyed meeting you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
very
coming
much.
by, and thank you, James Brown, for being with us again. Kent, thank you for being here tonight.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
We have a short visit, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when, exactly. That was, exactly.
Your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and we're talking about the issues of the day, from the shootings in Providence, Rhode Island, and Sydney, Australia. We're talking about Donald Trump's ruthless and sensitive tweet about Bob Reiner being killed by his son. We're talking about the Affordable Care Act expires in about 2 weeks. And I posed the question. A man stopped me with his son at the airport and said, what is a piece of advice, the most important piece of advice? And I've said to you, tell me what we ought to be telling young people. I see James Thomas on our message board saying, Rev, I tell my young boys that if learning should always be part of your journey because I look at it like a flower. If you plant it and take care of it, you're going to guarantee that it will grow and get big. You know, I think that is very profound. I said I do morning thoughts on social media about 4:35 in the morning. I get up about 4 and do my prayer meditation, and a half hour, 45 minutes later, I do my first message, morning message, and maybe 1,000 people tune in. And then I go down and work out, do another one, and when I come back, another one. And one of the things I said during the message thought that came to me this morning in my meditation is sometimes we focus more on what we are trying to do when we never think about what we've already done that gives us the strength and the faith to go on and do more. When I face a challenge, and you're not growing unless you face new challenges. If you are not facing any new challenges, you're stuck in the place you are. So new challenges means you're breaking new ground. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know if I have the confidence to break new ground. Well, one of the ways I have confidence is I think about things that I didn't have confidence for years ago, and when I got the confidence, the things I was able to do. So sometimes, I read a lot of scriptures and all, but sometimes I hit the rewind button in my own mind and think of what I've been able to do with God's help. And it gives me the real strength to know what I can do now. That's one of the things I tell young people. Think of your own journey. I don't care how young you are, you done something in your journey that you felt you couldn't do and you did it, which means you can do more. Taniqua Wimberly she says, always be thankful. There's a lesson no matter how you feel. I like that. I like that a lot. Let me go to the phones. Let me go to my buddy, my friend, my activist extraordinaire in Chicago, Illinois, Pam. Pam, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. Thank you very much for those kind words. Just have so much love and respect for you, Reverend Jackson, and just all of the civil rights leaders. To the man who said, "What do you tell your son?" It can't be just one thing, and everything has to be age appropriate. So I'm just thinking about in the development stages of young people, they should always hear you use the word love, and that should just come from the family. We love you. I love you. They should always hear that every day. As I talk to some young people, I tell them you belong to a culture of people who have just made sacrifices. And I try not to get, you try to stay on their level. And I try to say, you have people that care about you. And then I just quickly outline some of the things that you all have done. And so maybe some of the names they're familiar with, and then some may be new to them. But I tell them you come from a culture, and then I tell them there are some things that are beneath our culture. Because I want them to know, because that's what I was told, Reverend Sharpton, right?
Right.
You are Black, and you are to be proud of that. And there are some things that are just beneath Black people that we simply do not do. And that came from my family. I have to honor my family name. I have to honor God. And I know some people have different religious beliefs or spirituality. That's fine. But those were some of the things that influenced me as a young person. And when I see young people, I don't care where I am, I speak. And I look them in the eye to let them know that I see them. Because I think that is important. I'm not going to be afraid to live in the black community and not look someone in the face and say hello because I'm afraid.
Right.
And I think some of those things are important. So hopefully that makes a difference for some people, if not all. But I think if you talk love and respect from the some of the first words you teach them, I think that will go a long way. And then your actions reflect that in how you discipline, how you share things with them. And I don't care what your family structure is. So that's something that I share with young people. Um, and if I
And
may, Reverend
what
Sharp,
did they what did and yeah, I want you to go to your next point, but what did they
sure,
say
go
when you
ahead.
say that? When you say that, what did they say?
They kind of just, well, I can, one young man, I can just, he looked and he said, well, you don't know me. So how do you care about me? Now this is, because this is how they're thinking. And so he was in seventh grade. So I'm thinking maybe between 11 and maybe 13 years old. You don't know me. So how do you care about me? How do people care about me? And then I said, we don't have to know you to love you and to see that you have potential and your life has meaning. I told them, you don't know it now, but it does. And that, and I could only express it that way because sometimes it's hard for them to, foresee the future or what they can become. So they don't believe that people love them who don't know them.
Mm. Mm.
And so I think that's why, myself, my sister, we try to speak to everyone we see, but particularly young people. And I try to engage them, Reverend Sharpton, in whatever conversation, in whatever amount of time I have, whether it's a compliment or it's a gentle correction on something. And that may be how they're talking to people. If I hear them cursing, I might say, well, you see this adult here. I said, I know you don't want to talk that way in front of me. And then they'll smile and laugh, and then they'll say, I'm sorry.
Do you find that
really,
many of the young people are not bad? They just have just no guidance, no mentorship, nobody investing in them. I mean, there's some bad apples, but that most of them you can talk to if you try.
I just believe that, and I believe most of them have the heart to want something better, even the most hardened young people. Because what do we say? People aren't born saying that I want to be a drug dealer,
right.
I want to be a gangster.
Right.
Most young people aren't born saying those things.
Right.
But Reverend Sharpton, I'm grateful every day for the adults I had in my life. And it could have gone either way because I have friends who it didn't turn out so well for them.
Right.
But I'm thankful for the family that I had, the people that I had in my life. And when I see people just gone, particularly young people, so far astray, I'm first asking, do they feel that anyone loves them? And then I'm asking, who was the influence in their lives?
Right.
Because I am just a believer, if you have one person that is showing you love, that is enough to make a difference. Now, not always, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say the majority of the time, it does matter. And it matters how you show our young people.
No, you
and
said a mouthful
matters.
there. The fact is, I tell young people all the time, my father left when I was 10, and my mother went from being a homeowner and with a Cadillac to going on welfare and doing domestic work to feed my sister and I. And I said when I was 12, I was already a boy preacher. She'd bring me to the church to preach, and that's where I met Reverend William Jones and Jesse Jackson. And the young people say, yeah, and that's the heroes in your life, Reverend Jones, Reverend Jackson. I said, no, they're the sub-heroes. The hero was my mother, who loved me enough to not let me wallow in feeling that I could not continue being a preacher and meet people like them. And sometimes we don't realize the love of one person could save people's lives. Just one.
That's absolutely true. It's not a cliche. That is true. And then they watch us, Reverend Sharpton, they watch our behavior. And I'll just give a quick example. My friend's daughter, she was about maybe 8, 9 at the time. So we were in the car, and then a car pulled in front of me. Now, her mom just, uses profanity all the time. And so the one time that I did in this instance, so she had a look on her face, and she was saying, Miss Pam, I didn't know you curse, because she had never heard me.
Right.
You know, and it was almost like a disappointment to her because I was opposite of what she heard her mother do all the time. So, of course,
wait a minute, hold 1 minute. I want you to finish this and then give me what you were going to say. Just 1 minute. Let's take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special, special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to
let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. introduce a lot.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go right back to Pam in Chicago. Pam.
Hi, Reverend Sharpton. I'm here.
Go ahead.
Yes, Reverend Sharpton. I didn't want to take up a whole lot of time, so I can put off my comment about
No, go ahead. You can go ahead. We
oh,
have a line
okay.
open. Go ahead.
Oh, great. So I just wanted to make sure that people knew that. And so with that story I just told, it was that, my girlfriend's daughter, she watched me and she noticed the difference between me and her mom. And so I apologized to her for that because that meant something to her, that there was a person in her life that didn't use profanity every day and all the time. So I'm just saying that our young people watch us, and I am not perfect, but when I'm around children, I try to put my best foot forward. And I think we all should do that for our young people because they're worth it. And so I'll leave that piece there. Health care, Reverend Sharpton. Now, prior to the shutdown, I saw health care major stories all over. Not seeing it so much. So now the 8 Democrats that went on and went with the Republicans, they told us that, health care is going to be an issue. We're going to do something about it. Now, we're almost at the end of the year, and we're not any closer to getting health care. So I'm asking, and I'm going to call those Democrats, what are they doing to push their Republican colleagues? Because they told us that this was going to work out. And so far, it hasn't, because the Republicans don't care. All they've done over the years is try to eliminate Obamacare.
Right.
I mean, to court, everything. That's all they've ever shown us. So I'm afraid that at the last minute, there's going to be some bipartisan deal that won't be beneficial to the majority of the people who really need health care. But it'll be something just so that they can brag, we got a bipartisan deal and we got something through. Because you recall when Obamacare was first, the Affordable Care Act, first voted on, passed, they told us, let's get something in place. This is what leadership said. And we went along with that. Let's get something in place and we can build on that. Because remember, they removed the public option.
Right, that's right.
We haven't, remember, Reverend Sharpton, and I know you all were fighting for the public option.
That's right.
But this is what we're going to do. Now, since the passing of the Affordable Care Act, all they've done is try to remove any and everything to the point that they want to repeal it. So we've never even had an opportunity to build upon it because they've attempted to destroy it each and every time. So I'm just asking you, what, to your knowledge, Reverend Sharpton, what do you see happening with this Affordable Care Act? Because they don't want to extend it, but they want to offer some benefits for the, public sector. And now we're going to be held hostage.
Yeah, I think that, unfortunately, I think that you're right. I think they're going to try to come with something erroneous, that is incomplete, that does not nearly cover the needs of the most people, but is going to try to play it as a showpiece that they put up something. And they're willing to do anything other than to have the Affordable Care Act. And I think that it is outrageous. I think that it is something that we should not be quiet about. But I think that that's what they're going to try to do. Now, do we let them get away with it? That's going to be up to us.
I agree. And I'm asking everybody, call these senators, House of Representatives, the Republicans, all of them. Everybody should be on the phone. Healthcare is critical. And it's important that it's affordable. So thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
Thank you for your call. I think that people don't realize how critical it is. People with comfortable incomes can go broke with a wrong medical problem and not have insurance. I think it is absolutely horrendous. Let me read off the line. Brenda Cole says, Tim Kaine, Reverend Al Sharpton, in my state of Virginia, threw us under the bus. Shame on the 8 Democrats that turned on us. 8 Democrats made a deal that they would let the government reopen after Schumer and others had it closed over 30 days. They went and made the deal with the Republicans to reopen government, that they were going to deal with a debate and a fair vote on the Affordable Care Act, which the Republicans has not done. The ACA, Affordable Care Act, expires on December 31st. We are here December 16th, and they've not come with a concrete proposal or a vote up and down. It is absolutely ridiculous. I agree with you, Brenda. Donna Jackson says, with regard to reopening of government and restoring SNAP benefit, I somewhat agree with that vote. You can't starve a nation of people to force agreement. Then what sense does it make? People not being fed increases the need for more health care. But if you're giving people, Donna, in my opinion, a short-term pleasure for long-term pain, then what are you doing but prolonging the same disaster anyway? So you open the government knowing you're going to shut down health care in 30, 45 days permanently. You open the government and you know you're cutting the SNAP budgets, period. So are we trying to just feel good for a moment and the long run? Because once this expires, health care, it expires. And you have no way of pulling it back, and you got to give whatever aborted way they want to see it done. And I really think a lot of us don't realize that. Let me go to David in the Bronx, New York. David, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yeah, greetings, Al, Reverend Al.
Good evening. Greetings.
Yeah, thanks for all you do, as usual.
Thank you.
And I just called to say I saw you in a throwback video on YouTube with the group Steel Pulse, right? The reggae group from England.
Yeah.
And the whole premise of the video is that they couldn't catch a cab in New York City, right? And then in the video, they show you like advocating for them to catch a yellow cab back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
And Jay Leno was in it, Robert Townsend, and I believe Jim Carrey, among others, right?
Yeah.
So it shows you that you've been doing this work a long time and in different communities, you know what I mean? For fairness, and we need to keep that up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I remember that with Steel Pulse. I'm glad you brought it up because I had not thought about that in quite some time, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And in the Northeast.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. And in the Northeast Bronx with DA Clark, I believe they collected 180 guns.
Yeah, they did.
The gun buyback program. That's something else.
Yeah, that's a great.
We have to give thanks for that.
That's a great thing, no doubt about it. All right, let's take our break. Thank you for your call, David. We'll be right back. More of you on the phone. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were with gold. Yeah.
We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation.
Wow.
And that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine.
front for last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked into my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And where I knew Jesse was from James, I started breakfast.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But now.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Democratic presidential candidate, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Tonight, I want to address my remarks in two parts. One, I'm honored to address the delegates here. Last Friday, I had the experience in Detroit of hearing President George Bush make a speech. And in the speech, he asked certain questions. I hope he's watching tonight. I would like to answer your questions, Mr. President. To our chairman, our delegates, and all that are assembled, we're honored and glad to be here tonight. I'm glad to be joined by supporters and friends from around the country. I'm glad to be joined by my family, Kathy, Dominique, who will be 18, and Ashley. We are here 282 years after, right here in Boston, we fought to establish the freedoms of America. The first person to die in the Revolutionary War is buried not far from here, a black man from Barbados named Crispus Attucks.
Keeping it real.
I am your host,
40 years ago,
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can, of course, go on our message board and print a message, and I will try to read as many as I can on the air. Let me go back to message board first, and then I'm going to Marquetta on the phones. Treasure 1989 says, just my little 2 cents. I don't believe it was an easy decision for some of the 8 Democrats like Senator Kaine, who has a state full of federal employees who were working without pay. Okay, I think that's a fair point. I think that it is, I guess, well, all right, let me read Donna Jackson. Donna Jackson says, I guess my hope was that somewhere someone would be able to bring about agreement with regard to health care, social benefits, period. I believe that the budget she split into 2 parts. Social benefits would be addressed separate and apart from any other. And I think both are reasonable statements, but I also understand what Brenda's saying. Because I think at some point it got to a contest of who was going to blink first. What I did not see is you never saw Trump directly deal with this in a serious way. And I think that pressure was something that was mounting immeasurably against him and the Republicans. Now, at the same time, I understand your point, Donna and Tricia, that there were people suffering, federal workers weren't getting paid, and it was one of those situations that was extremely dicey for any politician when you got federal workers, even a federal union, a union of federal workers, to come out saying, please, make the deal. So it was a hard decision, but putting yourself in leadership, hard decisions is what you have to do. Now the problem is you've gotten down to the wire and they're not doing any of what they promised. And we just don't know. We just don't know what they're going to come up with, if anything. But we do know it will expire December 31st. Let's go to Marquetta on the from Chicago, WVON. Marquetta.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm going to get right to the point. I just heard, and I thank you for having your show, especially towards our black issues. But I just heard on another radio station, the little darling 4547 is supposed to have a press conference tomorrow night. And that's when they're supposed to vote on the affordable health care. However, he's going to propose they rename it from Obamacare to Trump care. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm through this guy. But see, this is why it's so important. We must tell our youth how important they must know their history and know the truth. The Obamacare bill was not actually, it took bipartisan, first of all. But second of all, and I'm just through, if they are saying that they will extend it for 2 years, but it has to be renamed to the Trump care.
So wait a minute. Let me get this right. So they're saying that they will extend it 2 years, but it has to be named Trump care?
Yes.
Well, so, first of all, I've not seen that now, and I'm checking as you speak. But the other thing is that the other thing that I think is so ridiculous about that is the Affordable Care Act is named the Affordable Care Act. It was nicknamed Obamacare by some of its opponents. The bill is not called Obamacare. It's called the Affordable Care Act. So why would we name it after Trump when we didn't name it after Obama?
This guy is a mastermind in, what's the word? Flipping. I can't think of the term now, but they know how to flip this.
Oh, yeah, I think that he will definitely project it, and his crowd, his followers, will go with his false projection. I'm just trying to say we ought to be ready with the truth of the matter, saying change the name from what? The name on the bill is Affordable Care, not Obamacare.
Yeah.
And
right.
I think that we've got to keep drumming that message home if, in fact, that's what they're saying. I also think that I would hope, and I've been doing calls in between sessions here, black unemployment went up to 8.3%. This is the biggest it's been since the pandemic.
Yes.
And why aren't they talking about that?
Well, like I said, it's a lot to be contended with, and it's going to be more critical going forward, showing our generations behind us they must stay on top of the political spectrum. Otherwise, they're going to be played. Simple as that. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your call. And I think that I saw that, Brian, Brian from Democracy Do Fund says, wow, Patricia Jordan, Trump hit with a $310 million lawsuit alleging trafficking scheme tied to Epstein-style claims. That's going to be interesting. We'll see how the courts handle that. Rodney Jones, the mayor, says, my shepherd, like I always say, ignorance is bliss. And I think ignorance is bliss, and there's a whole lot of happy folk out there because that's what bliss is. Tanya Stovall says, no pain, no gain, with no plan at all coming from the GOP and Trump. When will people learn never, ever trust anything coming out of Trump's mouth? And I definitely agree with that. And Brenda Coles comes back and says, Reverend Al Sharpton Kane also is in office until 2028. Mark Warner would have been the first person to turn on us, except he has a midterm in November 2026. Warner threw President Biden under the bus, and he did do that. And I think these are the kind of hard calls that you got to be prepared to take and defend. There is no question about that. And I think that many of them that are ducking and dodging now are acting like they didn't see this coming. They knew when they passed the Affordable Care Act when it would expire. And they should have been prepared to deal with this long before now. Now, I guess they were depending on us to have a majority in the Congress and the House and in the Senate, which did not happen. But I think that it is very interesting. They didn't even do enough, I think, job on the grassroots level to let people know this was going to happen if they didn't vote in a new Congress. I think you're right. Donna Jackson is saying, I think the splitting the budget removes the crutch. You won't be able to stall one part of the budget till approval of another part of the budget receives approval. Again, if Congress forges a plan to split the budget in parts, it would eliminate government shutdown. But they have not yet, Donna. And I think that we're facing a real critical problem for at least 23 Americans if that expires, as it appears it will. And yeah, I can understand Brenda talking about Kane and the other 7 that caved, but we also ought to be talking about all of the Republicans. Every one of them stood up against this bill. And I think that we need to be real loud and clear about that, that we not only jump on the 8 Democrats, but jump on the Republicans who in total came with this whole wretched deal that is so close to disaster for everybody. I mean, it's unbelievable that we're at this point, but then again, it is believable because look at who we're dealing with. And I think that we need to really, really look in the mirror if we did not vote and if we voted for Trump. I'm looking at a poll just came out, 55% of Americans are now saying they blame Donald Trump for the higher prices. So a lot of the chickens coming home to roost, people are clear where this is coming from. The question is, how do we hold on and how do we resist for the next 3 years? And some of us are going to get busy. And I think the way to do it is putting the pressure on the private sector because they're the ones that Trump will listen to, his buddies in business. We got to hit them hard. And thank you, Destiny Forever says, say that, Reverend. Now, all the Republicans voted for this. I still don't understand how they choose one man over their constituency. Very good point. Thank you for your call. Well, I hear the music. I got to go. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.